Is a Angel Reese OnlyFans coming up next?
Have you recently heard of Angel Reese's recent actions? The basketball player that I spoke with sales are now on top of things. Pictures you could discover, specifically for supporters thinking of nowhere that isn't true. But it gets much more insane, I promise. Do you have any? I ask myself. Awareness of oneself. I'm not bothered by Caitlin Clark. She's not. As far as I can tell, my opponent is the way she has been dressing and seeming. If you need help paying your rent, everything is fine. Reese isn't just dipping her toes, as you can see. She's surfing in the only fan world, head first, and accuse others of she is pointing to the right backlash. Wishing Reese, as she says, everything about Caitlin Clark, even claiming that Clark stole her spotlight. But what's even more fascinating is that this is all because Clark and Reese were named Rookies of the Year, didn't
the fans, her fans, the Iowa fans, now the Indiana fans that are like, sometimes it's very disrespectful. I think there's a lot of racism when it comes to...
Remember when Angel Reese was the talk of women's basketball? She was on top of the world following that national championship game. But things took a crazy turn. Let's examine how Reese went from being a sensational athlete to the focus of a huge dispute. Angel Reese is really unlikable. I mean really unlikable. And trust me, it's difficult for most men to dislike a woman who flaunts her butt everywhere she goes. She has a pretty big one, and a good one. And it all began with her behaviour during and after that big game. Reese was praised for her talent, but soon after, people began to wonder why she wasn't just playing ball anymore. Instead, she was causing drama on and off the court. And she didn't stop there. She put herself out there, even on this podcast, with her legs barely concealed and her stomach out. And now, I'm shocked that people are sexualizing me and somehow connecting it to being a Caitlin Clark fan. I simply fail to see the connection. As the controversy grew, Reese's performance on the court began to deteriorate. Rather than concentrating on her game, she seemed more interested in maintaining her image and garnering attention. Fans and commentators noticed this shift in priorities, and they weren't surprised when they saw her most recent social media posts. One fan even said that she looked like she got into a fight with a pair of scissors and lost. Can you believe it? This wasn't the Angel Reese we thought we knew. It's like everything bad that happens to me is somehow connected to Caitlin Clark.
Stupid, it's dishonest, she's just clout chasing.
Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese, because once again, Angel Reese is undermining the league with her unlike ability. The reason why everyone is jumping on board is because they've finally found a player who's halfway likable in Caitlin Clark and who doesn't shove their wealth, privilege and entitlement down everyone's throat and force it on them like I'm supposed to be special. The situation got out of hand when Reese joined the WNBA as a player, a move that shocked many in the basketball community. People began to question her dedication to the sport, claiming that she's risking her chance at WNBA stardom for quick fame and easy money by using Caitlin Clark. And she responds, "I don't think Caitlin Clark has hatred toward me. What has Caitlin Clark done to you? I've never witnessed Caitlin Clark engage in trash talk or taunt. She just goes out and plays basketball." Reese Angel. She is acting as though there is something there, yet there is nothing. Reese continued to push boundaries, appearing on the cover of Sports Illustrated in a swimsuit. While there's nothing inherently wrong with that, critics argued it was just another attempt to grab attention, instead of focusing on her basketball career. There's one person who is driving all this, And it's Angel Reese, rather. Caitlin Clark has nothing to do with it, blaming her fans for people following you home, or, these alleged death threats. This Caitlin Clark has nothing to do with that. You've made yourself a target. You might be wondering, is this just a phase? Well, it doesn't look like it's slowing down anytime soon. Meanwhile, other players like Caitlin Clark and A.A. Wilson are gaining respect through their achievements on the court. They're letting their game do the talking, while Reese seems to be making headlines for everything but her basketball skills. Now, I know she's just 22, but she's just bragging, Caitlin Clark. This, to me, is the worst thing she's done to Caitlin Clark. While Reese's off-sea court antics grab headlines, a silent battle is. If you've ever wondered why Caitlin Clark's name keeps coming up in this drama, the answer may surprise you. It's personal. Reese is accusing Clark of being the cause of all her issues, making outrageous accusations that will astound you. You know, people say that Angel Reese's greatest talent is rebounding, but that's not true. It's victimhood, and as you said, Jason, no one has sexualized Angel Ree like Angel Ree. Reese is feeling the heat and wants someone to point the finger at. And who could be better than Caitlin Clark, the emerging star in women's basketball? In a recent interview, Reese made grave claims regarding race and favoritism in the sport, saying, "There are two of us that chang the game of women's basketball, and it's not just Caitlin Clark. It's like she's trying to rewrite history."
She's on social media again, doing things that, well, I mean, when you consider the things that she has talked about that she has been subjected to, it makes you kind of throw up your hands and go, well, what are you doing? Why are you doing this kind of thing if you are constantly under fire, supposedly for being sexualized, as you want to call it?
But let's break this down. Is Reese really being overshadowed? Or is she just jealous of Clark's success? Think about it. Clark's been killing it on the court, breaking records left and right. Meanwhile, Reese, well, we've seen what she's been up to. It's like watching two different movies playing out, side by side.
Angel Reese is the one that is going to hurt people's pocketbook.
This is where things start to become really intriguing. Clark has been concentrating on raising her game, abilities, and allowing her performance to do the talking. Her points are increasing on their own helps, and above all, respect from supporters and other athletes. Ondi, however, has been in the news for her contentious social media statements and behavior on the court.
Saying Angel Reese is better than Caitlin Clark, is saying Rodman was better than Michael Jordan, or Ben Wallace was better than Kobe, or even Andre Drummond was better than LeBron.
And you know what? Fans are noticing. They're choosing sides. And it's not looking good for Angel. People are saying things like Caitlin Clark is a class-ass act, while Angel Reese is just looking for attention. Ouch! The contrast between their approaches is becoming more apparent with each passing game. Angel Reese really unlikable. I mean, just really unlikable. And trust me, it's hard for most men to dislike a woman who puts her butt on display everywhere she goes, and wow, she's unlikable. That's the thing that I've learned, that she is more and more unlikable. She's abrasive, she's a race peddler. But here's the thing. Reese's blame game isn't just affecting her. It's causing waves in the whole world of women's basketball. Some people are worried that all this drama could undo years of progress in the sport. It's not just about two players anymore. It's about the image of women's basketball as a whole to go, Like Angel put on some damn clothes. She literally does a runway walk based on what she's wearing before every game. So why is Reese really doing this? Is it because Clark won Rookie of the Year? And she didn't? Is she trying to distract from her own choices? Or is there something deeper going on here? Whatever the reason. One thing's clear. This blame game is looking more and more like a desperate move. What did you think was going to happen? The other thing is, if there are death threats and threats of violence, I have a hard time believing that this would not have been reported and blown up into a story. I wonder, are there police reports? Is there a logging of this? Or again, is this her version of the graffiti on LeBron James's property? Remember that. I mean, the much was made out of it. But you know, one thing we never saw. Evidence turns out the blame game was just the warm-up. Reese's next move. It's so out of left field. Even her biggest critics didn't see it coming. What could make a promising athlete throw away years of hard work in an instant, well, get ready for this. Angel Reese is joining OnlyFans. Can you believe it?
Could you imagine if Caitlin Clark did this while her team's on a 7-game losing streak? Just think about that.
Seems to indicate that she has completely forgotten about her basketball career. You may be wondering if she is really giving up basketball for this. But Reese says she isn't. But how can she concentrate on her game while she's preoccupied with this new venture? And guess what? She's blaming everyone else for her choice, saying things like, "I'll make my money elsewhere if they won't pay me what I'm worth on the court." But is that really the whole story? It is the pinnacle of issues in the first world. It is the height of first world ignorance. It's the perfect example of Angel Reese's lack of consideration. Let's dissect it. Reese's action takes her challenges conventions.
These ladies, and I'm a WNBA fan.
It's been a good season.
They cannot have fucked this Caitlin Clark thing up any worse if they tried.